The more invisible I become, the more death I have to endure. The next day, Chao Shuanglin arrived at the Dong Xinglin clinic. This is the clinic Wei Yan mentioned, he said, looking around. There are so many people. Looks like this divine Dr. Dong Xinglin really has some skills. Chao Mu thought to himself, the body transformation technique cannot cure Wei Yan's cold poison. Perfect chance to see what this divine doctor can do. A person in the crowd shouted, "Some divine doctor you are. Pah! I waited in line for days, and now you say you will not see me? Are you trying to get me killed? Come look, everyone. The so-called divine doctor is refusing to save lives." His friend, lying on the ground, shouted in pain, "Ugh, I'm dying." Another in the crowd scoffed, "What divine doctor? More like a fame-hungry fraud." Dong Xinglin, seemingly unfazed, replied, "He just has a mild cold. I have already written the prescription. Take the medicine as directed, and he will recover in 3 days." The man on the ground started coughing blood. Cough, cough. An old man in the crowd cried out, "He is coughing blood. You call that a small cold? Quack doctor, you are killing people for money." Another in the crowd muttered, "I heard someone died at Xinglin Clinic recently. Could it be that Dong Xinglin is really just riding on his reputation?" A third voice joined in, "No wonder I never got better after so many visits. Turns out he cannot actually cure anything." The bald man's friend said, "Didn't he used to treat patients for free? Now he charges money but cannot cure diseases." A boy shouted, "You are being completely unreasonable. Dr. Dong has saved countless lives with his free treatments. Without him, poor people like us could not even see a doctor." A man in front said, "Now, maybe that was just a trick to build his reputation. Look, everyone comes because of his divine doctor fame, and this clinic is making a fortune." Another man said, "If you think Dr. Dong isn't good enough, go somewhere else. Making a scene just delays treatment for the rest of us." The man in front retorted, "What, trying to chase us away because I hit a nerve? I think you are just a plant for this clinic helping them scam our money." The boy shouted, "You!" Chao Shuanglin silently listened from the back and thought to himself, "These 3 people have abundant vitality. They are not ordinary folks. That blood-coughing patient clearly has reversed vitality flow. Are they deliberately causing trouble?" A man suddenly shouted, "Make way! Please, everyone, let me through. Dr. Dong, could you please see my child first? He can barely breathe." Dr. Dong Shuling said, "Please get up. Let me check your child first." The man in front said, "Hey, we were here first." As his friend suddenly grabbed his arm and shook his head, the father of the child said, "Doctor, how is my child?" Dr. Dong Shuling said, This is a condensed evil ghost spider." The boy sweated in pain. Dr. Dong Shuling added, "Every city in the Central Plains has immortal sects stationed there. These weak demonic creatures usually only hide in remote mountains and forests."
"How did your child encounter this?"
The father replied, "We are originally from Tan County. Half a month ago, Tan County suffered a man-made disaster with countless casualties. I just wanted to bring my child to the imperial capital to find a safe place, but who knew?" A person in the crowd said, "Another man-made disaster. I heard demonic cultivators from the Blood Lotus sect massacred tens of thousands in Tan County to refine some 10,000 souls banner. So it is true." His friend said, "I heard about that too. A disciple named Dao Zhen from the Great Dao sect went to kill those demonic cultivators. Their battle affected 2 mountain villages, causing countless deaths. That's not all. A month ago, immortal cultivators battled, and half a city was destroyed by heavenly lightning, with civilian casualties in the hundreds of thousands." Chao Shuanglin thought to himself, "These cultivators again. No wonder they call it a man-made disaster, fighting recklessly for followers and territory, while ordinary people suffer the consequences." The father asked, "May I ask how much would it cost to treat this condition?" Dr. Dong Shuling said, "For treatment, we would need to administer an anesthetic first, then use a sharp blade to open the nasal cavity to remove the ghost spider. Afterward, careful recovery is needed. Adding everything up, no less than 50 taels of silver." The man in front said in shock, "50 taels? Just as I thought. You only care about money, not saving lives. How could poor people like us possibly have that kind of money?" "Brother, don't fall for it. He's just using your child as leverage to squeeze you dry." Chao Shuanglin then threw a bag of money and said, "Here's 50 taels. Please treat the child, Dr. Dong Shuling said, "You," Chao Shuanglin replied, "What? Is there something wrong with that?" Dr. Dong Shuling said, "Good, very good. Ah Chi, quickly take the child to the inner hall for care." Ah Chi said, "Yes." The father said, "Kind sir, may I ask your name? I'll repay this debt of gratitude for the rest of my life." Chao Shuanglin said, "My name is Chao Shuanglin." It was just a small gesture. The man in front thought to himself, someone's interfering. Damn, can't let him ruin Master Wan's plans. Dr. Dong Shuiling thought to himself, is he the Qiao Shuanglin who's recently become famous in the imperial capital? The man suddenly said, oh my, so you're the great Qiao. Your name is truly renowned. Hero Qiao is a role model for people like us. Just seeing you fills me with energy. Every member of the Qiao family is a great hero, someone we poor folks can rely on. Qiao Shuanglin said, no, you're too kind. A man said, not at all. We all saw what happened. The man coughing blood suddenly stood up and said, you paid for that child's treatment from your own pocket. You're truly a man of great kindness and righteousness. Dr. Dong Shuiling thought to himself, sigh. It's obvious these people are deliberately causing trouble. They pretend to be vulnerable to gain sympathy. If you help them, they'll only demand more. In the end, those who gather firewood for others only get burned themselves. The man with the big nose said, we're poor families too and can't afford medicine. Since you're such a good person, why not pay for our medicine as well? And he thought to himself, didn't your Qiao family boast about how every man shares responsibility for the fate of the world? Set yourself up that high, and you're just waiting for a hard fall. Qiao Shuanglin smelled his finger and said, I won't. The man with the big nose and Dr. Dong Shuiling were shocked and confused. The man with the thin mustache said in shock, what? Is Hero Qiao going to ignore people in need? The man with the big nose said, you're just a hypocrite. Qiao Shuanglin said, don't get it wrong. I'm not like Dr. Dong. In my life, I hate moral blackmail the most. As he clenched his fist, the man with the big nose pointed at Qiao Mu and said, you, in broad daylight, under the clear sky, you wouldn't dare get violent. Everyone look. The Qiao family is bullying sick people, using strength against the weak. As Qiao Mu helped the man with the big nose, he poked him in the chest, confusing him. He was then sent flying with intense force and shouted in pain, ah! Such powerful inner energy. A man in the crowd said to the man with the big nose, hey, just because someone won't pay for your medicine doesn't mean you can hit them. His friend said, exactly. You three have no shame. The man with the big nose said, I didn't. He's just faking injury. Don't believe me? Look, he's not even, Qiao Shuanglin said, surprised? Unexpected? As he clutched his heart in pain. The man with the big nose, still pointing at Qiao Mu, said in confusion, injured. He was shocked and said, Holy Mother, his heart just flew out. Qiao Shuanglin said, cough, cough. So you're actually a martial artist. Why are you pretending to be a weak civilian here? What's your purpose? Cough, cough, cough. Could you be following someone's orders to deliberately cause trouble at Yinglin Clinic? A man in the crowd shouted, you beasts. Hero Qiao generously helps others, and when your scheme fails, you resort to murder. Take him to the officials, quick. Don't let them escape, after them. As they ran away, Dr. Dong Shuiling said, Hero Qiao, hang in there, I'll find a way to save you. Qiao Shuanglin said, Dr. Dong, I'm not going to make it. Dr. Dong Shuiling said, quick, bring the hemostatic medicine. As he applied the medicine to Qiao Mu's chest. Oh my, I'm saved. Dr. Dong Shuiling was shocked and confused, as expected of Dr. Dong, truly bringing the dying back to life. Dr. Dong Shuiling said, huh? I didn't even... The crowd shouted, miraculous healing, Dr. Dong. Sorry for doubting you before. Having a divine doctor like you treating us is truly a blessing from our past 10 lives. Dr. Dong Shuiling thought to himself, so that's it. Must be the secret technique of the martial arts faction. Though this man acts unpredictably, he's, as Wei En wrote in his letter, a true chivalrous hero. It wasn't a waste waiting for him. The sun set, and the night came quickly. Dr. Dong Shuiling said, thank you for today, Hero Qiao. I've been waiting for you, and now I owe you a favor. Qiao Shuanglin said, you knew I was coming? Dr. Dong Shuiling said, Sir Wei sent word ahead. I'll do everything in my power to clear the cold poison from your body. Qiao Shuanglin said, today's events don't seem to be the first time. Are you planning to keep enduring this? Dr. Dong Shuiling said, the world has been chaotic in recent years, with natural and man-made disasters everywhere. Countless refugees and patients, and the clinic gets busier by the day. Free clinics naturally attract some ordinary people looking for handouts. I normally don't mind, but now there are too many people, even delaying treatment for critical patients. I suppose it's true that you can save the urgent but not the poor. Qiao Shuanglin said, Sir, you save countless lives. Even if the Jade Emperor himself came down, this would still be a righteous deed. Let people like me handle the idle gossips. Those who gather firewood for the masses shouldn't be left to freeze in the snow and wind. Dr. Dong Shuiling said, hearing those words from Hero Qiao brings me great comfort. Actually, A guest arrived today who has some connection to your Chao family. Hai Wuya said, I presume you're the great hero Chao Shuanglin. While Dr. Dong treats your wounds, would you care for a game of chess with me? Chao Shuanglin said, Gladly. My young relative Xiao Zhong was under your care. We can talk while we play. A few moments later, while Dr. Dong Shuiling attends to Chao Shuanglin, he said, Hero Chao, your body is extraordinary. You took a blow from a first-grade spiritual refinement martial artist with just your physical body. Chao Shuanglin said, Ha ha. That's all thanks to Brother Hai's human Tao scripture, which boosted my vitality. Hai Wuya said, You're too kind, Hero Chao. This martial art technique will surely flourish in your hands. By the way, I've heard you possess a blood moon painting that can help practitioners reach spiritual refinement. May I take a look? Chao Shuanglin thought to himself. So you weren't waiting for me, but for the blood moon paint. Dr. Dong Shuiling said, Of course, but we're not looking for free. I'll trade you a superior martial art technique for your ancient painting. Chao Shuanglin said, What technique? Dr. Dong Shuiling took out a book and said, This void-shattering finger is a finger technique that can be used like a sword, projecting energy through the air to harm opponents invisibly. But only martial artists with profound inner energy can use it. It also includes acupressure methods useful in medicine. As he showed the book, Void-Shattering Finger, Chao Shuanglin thought to himself, projecting energy through air to harm invisibly. Isn't this perfect with my blood sword technique? Chao Shuanglin showed the paintings and said, Don't mention it, they're just 2 paintings. Feel free to look. Hai Wuya said, Thank you. As Dr. Dong Shuiling and Hai Wuya looked at the paintings, they suddenly became serious and drawn to it. Suddenly, Dr. Dong Shuiling threw the paintings away and said, Ha, as he pressed on his chakra points to his chest. Meanwhile, Hai Wuya started to meditate and breathe deeply. Chao Shuanglin, confused, said, What's suddenly wrong with you two? Dr. Dong Shuiling said, This painting is indeed a treasure, but one shouldn't view it carelessly before reaching spiritual refinement. At best, it leads to cultivation deviation, at worst, instant death. Chao Shuanglin, confused, said, But I looked at it yesterday and was fine. Hai Wuya said, Didn't you feel your blood energy constantly rising, trying to break free from your physical constraints? Chao Shuanglin said, Yes. Dr. Dong Shuiling said, And then? Chao Shuanglin scratched his head and said, I broke through. Is that difficult? Dr. Dong Shuiling and Hai Wuya were shocked as they both said, You broke through just like that? That's unbelievable. They spat blood in shock. The next day, Dr. Dong Shuiling checked the pulse of Chao Shuanglin. He felt something strange and said in shock, This. Chao Shuanglin said, How is it? Dr. Dong Shuiling said, Brother Chao's vitality is vigorous, inner energy abundant, like a volcano about to erupt. It far exceeds all third-grade spiritual refinement martial artists I've ever seen, yet you haven't reached spiritual refinement. Truly remarkable. Chao Shuanglin said, So I haven't broken through yet. What does it take to reach spiritual refinement? Hai Wuya said, Throughout history, exploration of martial arts has gone through 3 stages. The traditional energy training period, limited by physical constraints. As people reached middle age, their vitality declined, and inner energy grew extremely slowly or stopped growing. That's the level today's 4th-grade martial artists reach. Chao Shuanglin thought to himself, That seems to be where I was before meeting the legendary martial artist. Hai Wuya continued, Then the legendary martial artist pioneered the spiritual refinement path, exploring the possibility of controlling inner energy with the soul. Though inner energy didn't increase much, its release became more powerful, giving martial artists more options in battle. Chao Shuanglin thought to himself, The most obvious difference is their faster reactions and all those special effects. Hai Wuya said, Now there's the legendary achieving the way through martial arts, but it's just a legend that few know much about. Chao Shuanglin thought to himself, Yes, the martial arts faction mentioned this. Chao Shuanglin said, When all is said and done, spiritual refinement is just another path chosen when energy training hits a wall and practitioners want to break through, using spirit, energy, and soul to achieve certain special effects. Sounds a lot like immortal techniques. Hai Wuya said, The essence of the 4 paths, strength, energy, technique, and spirit, is refining essence into energy, then refining energy into spirit. The level of martial arts mastery isn't determined by the short board but by the long board. Today, the path of spiritual refinement leads by far, with the legendary martial artist as its supreme practitioner. But I believe this isn't the right path. The birth of this martial arts path does have some connection to those high and mighty immortal sects. Dr. Dong Shuiling said, Your vitality now flows endlessly, and your energy training is far from its limit. Whether you can achieve spiritual refinement, we don't know. And even though you haven't reached spiritual refinement, you can still practice spiritual refinement techniques. This is truly beyond my imagination. Brother Chow, could you stay a few more days? I'd like to research this further. Chow Shuanglin was shocked and concerned, saying, "What further research? Are you treating me like a test subject?" Dr. Dong Shuiling laughed and said, "Not at all. I'm just curious about your body." Hai Wuya said, "By the way, which level of the human Tao scripture have you reached?" Chow Shuanglin said, "That? It's been quite a struggle." Hai Wuya said, "That's normal. After all, it's an incomplete martial art. Even reaching the 3rd level would be miraculous." Chow Shuanglin said, "Oh, I'm at the 5th level." Hai Wuya was shocked and said, "What? 5th level? In just a few days, you've accomplished what others can't do in half a lifetime. What a treasure, truly extraordinary talents. Your talent is seen once in 100, no, once in 1,000 years. Brother Chow, you're truly superhuman." Chow Shuanglin said, "You flatter me. The human Tao scripture happens to align with the Chow family's traditional martial arts. I've simply made connections between related techniques, heh." And he said to himself, this way, when our Chow family old monster appears knowing this technique in the future, it won't seem strange. Hai Wuya said, "Good. Excellent. I'm not alone in my... This technique may be just a spark now, but given time, what's to stop it from becoming a wildfire? How can martial arts not prosper?" Cough, cough, cough. Dr. Dong Shuling said, "Take it easy. 30 years in prison has taken quite a toll on your body." Chow Shuanglin said, "Old Hai, are you all right?" Hai Wuya said, "I'm fine, fine. Only today, after meeting Brother Chow, do I know what I should do. I feel my days are numbered, but in the time I have left, I'll do my utmost to spread the human Tao scripture, leaving behind a small spark for the future. The true path of martial artists, the true path of humanity, needs thousands upon thousands of martial artists to pioneer together. I hope that your Chow family can forge this path in the future." Chow Shuanglin said, "Brother Hai, I, Chow, will spare no effort to fulfill your requests." All right, let's not get too heavy. Let's talk about today's farce. Who has Dr. Dong offended? Dr. Dong Shuiling said, sighing, "Who else could it be? It must be Wan Ronghua. Several months ago, Wan Ronghua came to discuss buying Jinglin Clinic. I know exactly what kind of person he is. How could I let Jinglin Clinic fall into that scoundrel's hands and become a tool for profit? I refused. Since then, incidents like today's have been non-stop." Chow Shuanglin thought to himself, similar things happened before Fang Yuan's family incident. This Wan Ronghua uses such dirty tricks in business, it's disgusting. Chow Shuanglin said, "But you've provided free treatment for years. The people should know better. How could they believe these tactics?" Dr. Dong Shuiling said, sighing, "In times of disaster, when lives are at stake, how can everyone remain rational and composed?" Hai Wuya said, "These matters are also fueled by immortals. When common people seek protection from immortals, they stop looking for medical help and naturally stop believing what doctors say. They're stripping away people's self-awareness to absorb their faith energy. To fundamentally change the situation, we must either enlighten the people or overthrow the immortals." As Chow Mu remembered what Wang Songhe had said, "Wake up, everyone. Stop believing in immortals." As he spread public awareness, Chow Shuanglin thought to himself, creating hundreds of marketing accounts to manipulate public opinion and create information cocoons. These immortals have so many tricks. Looks like Wang Songhe still has a long way to go. I can't enlighten the people, but clearing obstacles for them, I can do my small part. Thank you so much for watching. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to help me grow my channel. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to leave a comment below. I love hearing from you. Let's keep the conversation going and get those analytics buzzing. Until next time, take care.